Today's lesson is called Taiwan Legalizes Same-Sex Marriage, a First in Asia. Hello, everyone. My name is Jeff.
I am Roger. Today we're going to talk about same-sex marriage, marriage between two people of the same gender. And maybe 20 years ago, this idea would have sounded absurd, ridiculous. How could anybody accept that? But more and more people are accepting this around the world. And here in Taiwan, it has become quite historic because Taiwan has legalized marriage between people of the same gender.
And this is a first in Asia, apparently. Taiwan is the first country to legalize same-sex marriage. How historic. By the way, if you legalize something, you make that thing legal. So now it is no longer against the law for two people of the same sex to get married in Taiwan. Before it was against the law. Okay, it was unthinkable, but that's no longer the case. Taiwan has legalized same-sex marriage. How about that? All right, folks, with that, it's time for us to take a short break, but don't go away. When we come back, we'll be learning more about how Taiwan has legalized same-sex marriage.
Taiwan legalizes same-sex marriage, a first in Asia. Lawmakers in Taiwan have passed a bill that legalizes same-sex marriage, making it the first place in Asia to pass such a law. The move by the Legislative Yuan came after Taiwan's highest court ruled that the old law, which said marriage could be only between a man and a woman, was unconstitutional. The court gave the Legislative Yuan 2 years to pass new legislation.
大家好，标题我们看到单字 legalize 这个字是动词，指合法化。例如 Some students surrounded the legislative yuan and hope to legalize the bill. 有些学生包围立法院，希望能使这个法案合法化。另外，去除字尾的 ize 可以成为它的形容词 legal， 指法律的、法律方面的。我们可以说 You can ask the lawyer for some legal advice. 你可以向那位律师请问一些法律相关的建议。再来，我们看到一个形容词 unconstitutional， 指违反宪法的，像是 No law can be unconstitutional because the Constitution is one country's fundamental. 任何法规都不能违反宪法的，因为宪法是一个国家的根本。另外，补充这个字的反义词 constitutional, 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 指宪法的，符合宪法的。所以可以说 The Supreme Court must rule on whether the law is constitutional. 最高法院必须判决出此法是否符合宪法。
Okay, let's take a look at the first paragraph here. Lawmakers in Taiwan have passed a bill that legalizes same-sex marriage, making it the first place in Asia to pass such a law. So, of course, if you're an elected official and you're a senator or a representative, we can say that you're a lawmaker. You participate in discussions about laws and you sign them if you agree. You don't sign them if you don't agree. So, of course, there are people who make those laws, the lawmakers. And they passed a bill in the legislature that legalizes same-sex marriage. And that's the first, or at least Taiwan is the first country to do that here in Asia. But of course, as you know, this is quite controversial.
It is quite controversial, but yes, it's now on the books. It's a law. Same-sex marriage has been legalized. Yeah, lawmakers have passed a bill in Congress there that made this legal. It's totally possible for two people of the same sex to get married. Before this was not legal, now it is okay and legal under the law. So yes, it says here that they've passed this bill, and it makes Taiwan the first place in Asia to pass such a law, or this is a first in Asia. Now, the move by the Legislative Yuan came after Taiwan's highest court ruled that the old law, which said marriage could be only between a man and a woman, was unconstitutional. So there you go. This move by the Legislative Yuan, i.e. they legalized same-sex marriage, okay, This was made possible by the courts. Okay, apparently Taiwan's highest court said that the old law was unconstitutional, okay? They said the old law wasn't written properly, and for that reason, it could be overturned because it was unconstitutional. Anyways, a constitution for a country is the basic set of laws for that country. Like in the United States, there's the Constitution of the United States. It says, okay, this is the way we're going to structure our government. These are the rights and laws that we all recognize for human beings who live in this country, so on and so forth. So if something is constitutional, it is supported by the Constitution. It is definitely legal. But if something is unconstitutional, it means that it can't be in the Constitution, or it disagrees or clashes with something in the Constitution.
Right. The Constitution, of course, is that document that you talked about, 宪法. And the court gave the legislative yuan 2 years to pass new legislation. So we've got the legislature, that's the governing body, and then the laws that they pass are called legislation. Okay, so they need to come up with some new laws to deal with that court decision. Same-sex marriage is unconstitutional, so you guys need to come up with some new laws that will make that old rule constitutional and will create a new law.
There you go. Okay, it says here that the old law wasn't written quite clearly, so it's unconstitutional. It said that marriage could only be between a man and a woman, but the court said, the way that you've written that there, you're not properly recognizing people's rights or something like that. So we're going to have to throw this law out, but that wasn't the end of things. The court also said that the legislative yuan could have 2 years to pass a new law. So rewrite the law, make it constitutional, and you've got 2 years to do that. All right, folks, with that, it's time for us to take a break, but don't go away. We'll be back after this.
The matter was highly controversial, as it has been in many other places that have contemplated a similar move. Same-sex marriage had the support of many in Taiwan, but in a referendum last November, 67% of voters voted against amending the Civil Code's definition of marriage. The new legislation passed by 66 to 27 votes and was backed by the Democratic Progressive Party. Without changing the existing Civil Code, the special law allows same-sex couples to apply for marriage registration. It took effect on May 24, 2019.
第二部分我们看到单字 controversial 这个字是形容词，指有争议的。举例来说 Films that contain excessive violence are often controversial and may even be banned in certain places. 太过暴力的电影通常有争议性，有些地方甚至会禁播。接着我们看到一个动词 contemplate 有考虑、仔细考量的意思。例如Megan contemplated quitting her job when she didn't get promoted. Megan 因为没有获得升迁而考虑辞掉工作。再来，我们看到一个单字 referendum， 这个单字是名词，指公投、公民投票。举例来说 The result of the referendum will influence how the legislations go next. 公民投票的结果会影响法规接下来的走向。接下来我们看到动词 amend 用来指修订、修改，像是 In principle, amending a law is much easier than completely rewriting it. 大体上而言，修订法案比完全改写要容易多。另外，补充一个相关的片语，可以用 make amends to somebody for something 来代表赔偿、补偿。我们可以说Henry tried to make amends for all of the terrible things he had done. Henry 想为他所做的所有坏事弥补。最后，我们看到一个片语 apply for 表示申请……这个片语后面可以接职位、资格等。例如 Tom applied for a job working as a security guard at the mall. Tom 应征了购物中心的警卫工作。另外，补充 apply 的相关片语 apply to 可以用来指适用于……我们可以说 The office rules apply to every employee in the office, so you should follow them. 这些办公室规定适用于公司每位员工，所以你应该遵守。
Okay, let's move on now to the second part of today's lesson, all about same-sex marriage. The matter, or this concern, was highly controversial, as it has been in many other places that have contemplated a similar move. Okay, so yes, you could say definitely this is very controversial. It's a pretty new idea in a lot of places, and it's true that lots of people are uncomfortable with this idea, so that's why it's controversial. Some people say it's okay. Some people say, no, it's not okay. That's why it's controversial. Of course, you know, mainland relations here in Taiwan are always very controversial, etc., etc., and various laws are controversial. Some people support them, some people don't. But, of course, yeah, you might think that, well, Europe, you know, they're pretty liberal, so it's probably not controversial there. No, it's still controversial there as well, even though some countries there have legalized it.
There you go. People take sides on that immediately, okay? You immediately either hate it or you like it. You're on one side or the other immediately. So this matter, the matter of same-sex marriage, it was controversial. Some people are totally for it. Some people are totally against it. There's not a whole lot of middle ground. Anyways, the matter was highly controversial, as it had been in many other places that have contemplated a similar move. By the way, if you contemplate something, you think about that thing. You think deeply about that thing. You consider that thing in great detail.
Exactly, to contemplate. So, gee, I need to have some contemplation about my next job. Since I got fired from this one, I need to think a lot about what my next job is going to be. So, yes, indeed, other places have thought about this. They've contemplated this. They've considered this. Same-sex marriage had the support of many in Taiwan. But in a referendum last November, 67% of voters voted against amending the Civil Code's definition of marriage. So it's kind of interesting. Of course, we know that the government legalized same-sex marriage, but still in that referendum that took place last year, the majority of voters said, no, we don't like that idea. Do not amend the laws. Don't produce new legislation. We are against same-sex marriage. 67% of voters said, nope, we don't want you to change that law. We don't want you to change that definition of marriage. If you amend something, that means you kind of fix something. You don't change it totally, but you make some changes here and there. It's still the same thing, but a little different. And civil code just means the civil law, the law for society. And definition is basically how something is defined, what it means.
There you go, a civil code here. That's kind of like a dictionary of laws, okay? And speaking of dictionaries, if you open up a dictionary, you are going to see definitions of words. Or, let's say in a civil code, they can define certain terms within the law. And apparently in this code, they had defined marriage. They said, okay, marriage is a civil union, a union between a man and a woman. That was the definition of what marriage was, let's say. But some people think, hey, that definition needs to be changed or amended. Why can't boys and boys or girls and girls get married? Whatever the idea was, maybe we need to change this law. But there was a vote, there was a referendum held on this topic, and a lot of people came out and said, you know what? We're not anti-same-sex marriage, but we don't want to change the law. We don't want to amend the definition of marriage in this particular situation.
So even though this is controversial, let's actually talk about the new legislation, the new law. The new legislation passed by 66 to 27 votes and was backed by the DPP, the Democratic Progressive Party. Okay, you all know about local politics. We don't want to mention too much about it because it's very controversial. But in any case, without changing the existing civil code, the special law allows same-sex couples to apply for marriage registration. It took effect on May 24th, 2019, just a couple of months ago. You probably saw this in the news. So again, it was backed by the DPP. It was supported by them, but they did not really change the existing civil code, the civil law. They amended it, as we said. The special law allows these same-sex couples to apply for marriage registration. That's what it's called. If you want to get something, you need to apply for it. If you're going to university, for example, and you want a student loan, of course, you need to apply for that student loan. You need to fill out an application to let them know you want this thing.
Anyways, here we've got the word registration. It's a noun. The verb is register. If you register, okay, you put your name on an official list for some reason. So here, marriage registration, that sounds like a document to me where you put your name on this document and you say, well, we want to get married. For example, you could say, online registration is fast and easy.
It's supposed to be, but sometimes when your computer is screwing up, then it can take longer than actually going there in person. But in any case, yes, this new legislation took effect on May 24th, 2019. It became legal and people could actually go down and tie the knot. Okay, let's move on now to the final portion of our lesson for today. We'll listen to it first.
Same-sex marriage is allowed in many European countries, South Africa, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, and a few countries in Latin America. It became legal across the United States in 2015, also after a high court decision.
Okay, Taiwan has legalized same-sex marriage, and this is a first in Asia. This is historic, however you feel about this. Yes, this is controversial, but this is also historic in the sense that Taiwan was the first country in Asia to do this. That's pretty interesting. Anyway, same-sex marriage is allowed in many European countries, South Africa, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, and a few countries in Latin America. So if you go to South Africa, you can get married. Australia, New Zealand, Canada, if you're a same-sex couple, you can get married. And yes, if you go to Europe, many countries there in Europe, if you are a same-sex couple, you can get married there as well. And this is also true for a few countries in Latin America.
Yeah, I think Uruguay is one of them, but don't quote me on that. And here it finishes up by saying it became legal across the United States in 2015, also after a high court decision. There, the high court refers to the Supreme Court of the United States. I don't think that would pass now because the current Supreme Court in the United States is more conservative. They would probably say no to that. But at the time, they were less conservative, so this became legal in the U.S. back in 2015. Who knows, they might reverse course on that someday.
Yeah, and again, okay, this was due to the courts, okay? People didn't pass legislation making same-sex marriage legal in the United States, okay? They also did something through the courts as well, or this occurred through the courts, just like it did here in Taiwan. Remember, no one changed the codes or anything like that. A high court said that an old law containing the definition of marriage was unconstitutional and had to be changed. And they, the court, went ahead and gave the legislature 2 years to pass a new law or to rewrite the existing law. And that's how courts work. Judges and lawyers rule on things like that, constitutional issues like that. And apparently something similar happened in the United States, and this also allowed for same-sex marriage to become legal. Anyways, folks, with that, our lesson on same-sex marriage in Taiwan is now in the books. But don't worry, don't fret. It's now time for you guys to hear from the Chinese teacher.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们来看今天的文法重点。课文标题写到 Taiwan legalizes same-sex marriage， 台湾同婚合法化。好，这边他用到一个补充单字 legalize。 同学们应该都知道 legal 是用来形容合法的，跟法律相关的。那在后面加上动词字尾 ize， 这个字尾呢，它表示使什么变成，把它合在一起 legalize， 那就有使什么变成合法的语义。 也就是用来表达使什么什么合法化。我们就顺便来介绍 IZE 这个常见的动词字尾。IZE 常常接在形容词或是名词的后面，用来表达使变成怎么样，或是使受到影响。那在英式英语当中 IZE 会拼作 ISE。举例来说，real 这个字可以用来形容实际的。好，那么后面加上字尾 IZE 就表示使变成，合在一起 realize 就是使什么变成实际的语义，所以呢 realize 就可以表达实现啊，使什么成为事实的语义。那在英式英语当中 realize 它的字尾就是拼作 ISE。还有像是 apology 这个字，它表示道歉，那我们去 y 加上字尾 IZE 变成动词 apologize， 也是指道歉赔罪。好，那么英式英文当中呢，这个 apologize 的字尾就是拼成 ISE。好，课文第二部分提到说，同性婚姻在台湾获得很多支持，不过在去年11月的公投当中，67%的投票者投票反对修改民法的婚姻定义。好，课文用到 vote against 加上名词来表达投票反对什么什么。那我们来造个例句， 14 people voted against the proposal， 这表示说有14个人投票反对那个提案。那相反的，我们可以用 vote for 加名词，或者是 vote in favor of 加上名词来表达投票支持什么，投票赞成什么。像是 She tried to convince her parents not to vote for Donald Trump， 她试着要说服爸妈不要把票投给川普。好，那顺便介绍一个有趣的用语 vote with one's feet。什么叫做用脚投票呢？这个片语啊，其实是用来表达离弃本人原本支持的事物。像如果员工对公司这样子 vote with one's feet， 用脚投票，用这个用语就表达说这个员工离开公司。好，那如果是消费者对这个产品用脚投票，那就表示他选择不再使用那个产品咯。好，读到课文第二部分最后一句，他说 It took effect on May 24th, 2019。 同婚专法在2019年5月24日生效。那这边用到一个片语 take effect 表示生效，意思就相当于 go into effect 或是 come into effect， 它们都可以用来表达法律规则等等开始生效。例如 The policy will not go into effect until next year， 那项政策直到明年才会开始生效。那另外 take effect 它也有起作用的意思，像是 You have to wait 30 minutes for the medicine to take effect， 你必须等半个小时药才会起作用。好，那么以上是今天的重点整理，我们来回顾单字吧。
Lawmaker. Lawmakers will vote on the healthcare bill later this week. Unconstitutional. If 2/3 of the judges rule that a law is unconstitutional, then it must be changed. Legislation. Some countries are considering legislation that would guarantee a basic income for all citizens. Contemplate. Jane contemplated whether she should buy a house or continue renting one. Definition. The court determined that the dog met the legal definition of dangerous after it attacked someone. Registration. In some places, voter registration is required once a citizen reaches voting age.
Discussion starter starts now!
All right, everyone, now it's time for our discussion starter. Hey, Roger, what is your opinion of the special marriage law?
Well, first of all, this is just a sample, and our opinions do not reflect the opinions of the magazine, but just for the sake of the discussion here, I believe the law is probably not legitimate because most people are against same-sex marriage, and the government should represent the will of the people. It shouldn't be decided by the high court. How about you?
I think there is merit to that idea, but I support the law because I support personal freedom. Okay, I don't believe the government should be able to tell people who are in love that they can't get married. Okay, so for that reason, I support the law. Okay, this is a controversial issue, and I do see the merit in what you're saying, but in the end, I do have to go on the side of freedom, or I have to take the side of freedom, so I think this law is okay. Okay, everyone. With that, today's article is now complete. But, as always, we sure hope that you guys have enjoyed reading along with us. Anyways, I'm Jeff.
I am Roger.
See you next time.